The legal rights of grandparents may be one of the most complex and hard to understand areas of family law in Texas today. Here with more is Live at 5's family attorney, Sonia Kaufman. And this question seems to come up all the time. What are my rights as far as being a grandparent and custody?
It does come up a lot, often in the context of visitation. Grandparents often think that they don't get to see their grandchildren enough and want to know what they can do for visitation. And it is complex, but the short answer is there's not much a grandparent can do just to get visitation, only in very limited circumstances set out in the family code, and those are very hard to meet and very seldom does that happen. However, that question is different from custody. A grandparent can file for custody if they can show that the child's present circumstances would substantially impair their physical health or emotional development. So in some ways, it's easier to file for custody than it is to get visitation.
Okay, so for all those grandparents out there, you may look at the custody option.
Right.
Now, another question that was posted on our KFDM Facebook page is the fact, how is child support figured? This one person was saying she's got 2 kids and she's only being paid $1,000 for the 2 kids, and she doesn't think that is fair.
She should probably contact the Attorney General's office and ask that they do a child support review, which they will do for her free of charge. But the short answer is that the family code says for 2 children, the obligor should be paying 25% of his or her net resources. And net resources is defined very specifically in the family code, how that's calculated.
Okay, and just want to apologize. That was Chris Bucell. He was handing us our questions. We're having a few technical difficulties there. What can you do to get custody of one child if you have 2, but only one wants to move in?
I think the question here is how willing are courts maybe to do split custody of children. And generally, I think the courts prefer that siblings stay together, but split custody does happen all the time depending on the circumstances. So you would take each child and look at their preferences and their circumstances and figure that out.
Why are child custody laws geared so much towards the mother?
That's a good question. I think it's traditionally that mothers have had custody, although that is certainly changing, and in every courtroom every day fathers get custody these days, so it's based on the facts.
Is there something that fathers should do if they are really wanting custody? Is it better to employ a female attorney to represent them? Are there any catches to the law, I guess?
I think the best advice to a father wanting custody is to be very involved and very hands-on, because in the typical case in the past, fathers worked, mothers took care of children, fathers didn't do the extracurricular activities and the parent-teacher conferences, and that has all changed. And so a dad needs to be very involved with his children, and I think that's the best thing he can do for custody.
All right. Unfortunately, we are out of time, but appreciate you stopping by.